All right, my ladies, I decided to do a bonus podcast episode today, and I want to talk to you guys about finding a new hairstylist. And here is why. My sister came over today because she is a hairstylist. I have an identical twin sister. She's a hairstylist, and I am getting photos taken today for my website by my photographer, some marketing photos. And so I asked my sister if she could come curl my hair. And so she did, and it looked amazing. We started talking about my business and her clients. And we started talking about what it's like getting your hair done. Okay, so for all my ladies who get their hair done, this is for you if you know this struggle. I have had some bad hair experiences in my life, ladies. Bad ones. Oh, they were terrible. And I'm going to tell you about some. And I'm going to try and find a picture. My sister and I were trying to decide or trying to remember if we had a picture of some of these experiences, and they were bad. But here's what and I'm going to find them. And if I find them, I'm going to send them out on my email list. So get on my email list. I'll send them to you, okay? But we were talking about how when you are trying to find a hairstylist, what's the number one thing you look for, right? You start looking, you start maybe getting some references from people that you know. If you move to a new area, you start asking around, hey, where do you get your hair done? Maybe you look on Instagram, seeing if you can search locally. I mean, I'm sure you used to look in the yellow pages, but those don't exist anymore. And maybe you Google it, right? Salons near me. And you're looking for an experience for yourself, right? Now, maybe you just need a haircut and you're like, oh, you know what? I just want the cheapest person. And so you go to Supercuts and it's fine, okay? Or maybe you're looking for someone who specializes in hair extensions or someone who does balayage because you've looked at all these things on Pinterest and they look amazing and you just want somebody to do that for you. But you start looking around, and if you are deciding based on price, then what your brain is going to do is say, this is the person that I want to go with, but their price is higher than I want to pay. I'm not willing to invest this much money in order to have the result that I want. So what you end up doing so often is you will go to somebody else. Maybe you'll go to somebody who's cheaper or someone that's closer to you. And you go, and I'm sure you guys have had this experience because I have so many times, is you go and you tell them your vision, you tell them what you want, and it does not turn out. I have spent more time crying over my hair than I think I've spent crying over my husband. It's a true story. I have had some bad hair experiences, okay? And when that happens, you still end up paying a large sum of money. And maybe you do it all at once. I have had the experience where I've gone to a salon and I have spent way more, several $100s, way more than I thought I would be spending, and I still hate the result. And then what happens is I go home, and this is, and I go home and I end up just bursting into tears because I know it's not what I wanted. And at that point, I am then willing to pay anything to have someone do it the right way. I'm going to give you guys an example, okay? So my sister, my identical twin, she is an amazing stylist that I think everybody should go to. And she's especially brilliant with blondes, okay? And she and I did not always live next to each other. I put her through hair school, that's what I say. I put her through hair school, and I have always paid her for her work. And there was a time when I lived in Delaware and she lived in Pittsburgh, and so we were several hours apart. And I had an emergency. And my emergency was that I miscarried. And when I miscarried, I said, I need my hair done yesterday. It was just something I wanted, an emotional fresh start. This was the thing that was like the, I don't know, the example or the I don't know what the word is. This was the thing that I was going to do that was going to represent this fresh start that I wanted to have. And so I decided, all right, I'm going to go get my hair done. So I just found the salon that my mom had used before, and I went and I told them exactly what I wanted. And I sat in the chair and I just wanted to trim, ladies. And if you're watching this video, my hair was probably past my shoulders, and I just wanted to trim because I was trying to grow it out, which is the story of my life. And this girl I sat in the chair and she just kept cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. And I just sat there looking in the mirror, and it was getting shorter and shorter, and she was in the back, and I was like, it's getting even shorter in the back than it is in the front. And I just froze and I didn't say anything. And I walked out with hair that was to my chin. And all I can think is that she made some kind of mistake and then didn't own up to it and then just kept cutting because it was not what we had talked about and it was not what I wanted. And so I came out of that experience spending hundreds of dollars on my hair and I hated it. And so here's what I decided. I was like, you know what? Forget the distance. I am driving to my sister. I am driving to find her and I'm going to pay her whatever it takes. So the next weekend, or as soon as I could make it happen, I loaded up my babies. I had 2 babies at the time. I loaded up my babies in the car and I drove several hours to Pittsburgh and paid several hundred more dollars to have it done and fixed, to have it done the way that I wanted. And as my sister and I were talking today, and I could give you guys so many more examples. My sister has never ruined my hair. I will put that in there, okay? The only times that I've had terrible experiences were before she went to beauty school, and then there were probably 2 times where we didn't live by each other and I got my hair done and it was a disaster both times. And so I was like, never again. I will never do it again because I don't want to repeat that experience. But as we sat here talking about this, it just reminded me of so many conversations that I have with so many of you. When you have a certain outcome that you're looking for in your emotional healing, often what we will do is we will look at, okay, I have this idea of where I want to go. And you might even find someone, like maybe you love my approach, which I'm assuming you do because you're listening to this podcast. And you just look and you say, oh my gosh, that price is too expensive. And so then you go find someone else, okay? This is like finding a stylist that you love and you look at the sticker and you're like, ugh, I just can't pay that. And that's totally fine if that's where you are. But then you end up going to somebody else who does like a mediocre job or someone who doesn't really get you what you want. And you end up spending so much more money because you waste it, because you spend just as much, or let's say you spend half as much money as this initial cost, but you spend half as much and you do it again and again and again and you don't even get what you want out of it. And then you get to a point, just like I did, where I said, you know what, I will pay whatever it takes. I will drive however long it takes to drive. I will travel. I will do whatever it takes in order to have the person that I want, the one that I know will get me the result that I want, be my stylist. And that's what I want you guys to think about when you think about your emotional healing. When you think about how you want to move forward, hiring a coach, a therapist, a counselor, whatever it is that you decide to do, when I want you to look at it like getting your hair done, finding your stylist. How many of you have chosen based off sticker price and then regretted that decision because they didn't actually give you the result you were looking for? Your hair didn't actually look like the Pinterest picture. You didn't actually connect with the person. There wasn't a good communication. They didn't really understand what it was you were saying. It didn't really translate. It got lost in translation, right? In the communication you were having between you and your stylist. And so then you didn't get the result you were looking for and you still paid so much money for it. And maybe it's not as much as the sticker price of where you want to go, but it's a waste of money because it's not getting you what you want. I was talking to my sister about this, and she has so many clients that will say, oh, I wanted to come to you, but we moved, okay, in the last year. And so, and then over COVID, some people found different stylists and it's totally fine. But she has had so many people come back and then she's had to fix what other stylists have done. And so the client ends up paying even more money than they would have initially if they had just signed up with her first, because they wanted to save money. So they went to a different stylist, paid less, but got a shoddy job, or didn't get, at least maybe it wasn't a shoddy job, but they didn't get the result that they wanted. And then they come back to my sister. And so in order to create the look that they were initially going for, she has to do a lot more work. It's a lot more time intensive. She has to do a lot more services in order to make that happen. So it's more expensive, and yet they're willing to pay it because what they really want is the result. So take a look, ladies, at the result that you're going for. What is the result that you actually want to have? Do you want to have a Supercuts haircut? Because if so, go for it. No problem. Or do you want to have your hair look like the Pinterest picture? Do you want to have the balayage? Do you want to have the extensions? Do you want to have the look that you've always dreamed of? Do you want to have your dream hair? Do you want to walk out feeling like Jennifer Aniston? How do you want to feel at the end of it? What do you want to look like? And that's the result that you go for. And maybe it might cost a little bit more upfront than you think it will, but I promise you, if you keep going to other stylists first, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to just waste your money because you're not going to get the result that you want. And this is something I see over and over and over again with my clients. Anytime I hear someone say, you know what, I'm just going to go to therapy first, I'm like, great, I'll see you in a year. And that's often what happens. I have so many clients, and I think therapy is wonderful if it's working for you. But if you know that this is what you want, if you're just going to therapy because it's cheaper, then it's not going to give you the result that you want. I have so many clients that come to me after they've gone to therapy, after they've gone to counseling, and they have spent so much money trying all of those things, and then they come to me and it works. And there's a number of reasons why. One, I have incredible tools. Number two, I've been through what you're going through. Number three, I am not going to try to convince you that you're overreacting. I've had so many clients that go to therapists and they say, well, pornography is very normal. I don't see why you're upset about this. Let's just try and make it normal. Let's just have you live with it and deal with it. And I understand what you're going through because I've been through it and because I've coached thousands of women through it. And the tools that I have are ones that I've applied in my own life and then helped thousands of women do. So my program is expensive, totally, but it is saving you tens of thousands of dollars in the long run because I thought about this the other day and I looked it all up. Therapy is typically between $100 and $200 a session, okay? So let's go conservative and say it's $100. If you sign up for therapy and you go to therapy once a week for a year, that's $4,800. If you're paying $100 a session. My program is less than that when you pay in full upfront. There's a discount, okay? It's $4,500 when you pay in full upfront. Or it's even cheaper than that. It's $1,000 for 5 payments of $1,000, okay? So you can either do the payment plan or you can pay in full with a discount. But here's the thing. That therapy is only a year and you only get it once a week. My program never expires, ever. It's a lifetime access program, and we don't just do once a week, we do it twice a week. I have twice weekly coaching calls. That means that you can come work with me twice a week. Plus, you get 24/7 access to me on Slack, which is a private messaging app, which means that you can message me 24/7 for additional one-on-one help. That's what the cost is. That's what you're paying for. And you're doing it, we're getting it with the benefit of somebody who's been through what you're going through and knows how to get you through it. It's having a stylist who knows exactly what your vision is, who is speaking the same language as you, communicating with you in an effective way, knowing exactly where it is that you want to go, and knows how to get you there. So you can do all the other things first, trying to save money because the sticker shock was a little bit shocking if you want. But you're not going to get the result that you want. And when that happens, please come back. I will be here doing what I do, ready to work with you whenever that happens. And if you want the stylist who knows exactly what you're going through that can get you where you want to go, it's worth every penny because it doesn't matter how cheap it is if it's not what you want, if it's not working. That's really the thing that blows my mind the most is how many of us will pay any amount on something over and over and over again, and yet it's not working. Yeah, but it's cheaper. Yeah, but it's not as expensive. Yeah, but it fits in my budget. Great. But if it's not working, then it's not worth it, right? Yeah, Supercuts might be in your budget. It might be what is there, but is it working for you? Is it getting you the result that you want? And if not, then it doesn't matter how cheap it is. If my washing machine was $15 and a really good deal, awesome. But if it doesn't wash my clothes, then it doesn't matter how cheap it is, it's not working, okay? So sometimes it takes investing in the thing that's going to work. So if you know that coaching is gonna work for you, or at least you hope that it will, and ladies, if you're still listening to this podcast, I'm pretty sure you know it works for you, because otherwise you wouldn't still be listening. So for those of you that it's working for, great. Then let's keep going. It's time to just go to the stylist. And if not, ladies, you can go to all the other stylists, and whenever you're ready, come back and I'll be right here waiting for you, and it will be a beautiful experience, and you will have finally the result that you want. I love you, ladies. I hope you go get your hair done. It is the best day ever. If you're local in North Carolina, I happen to know a fantastic stylist who would be more than willing to work with you. I love you, ladies. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.